Ooh, that dirt's not going to help him as we got Espez, who has been saving fuel. Does he have enough to finish this lap going all out? Taking a look down the inside as he gets covered up. Oh, we're going to go 3 wide into the hairpin.
3 wide. Hawkins makes it stick on the right side. Better run for Williams on the left. Espez chooses the left as well. Hawkins now stuck side by side as Espez goes for a 3 wide move. Heading towards Cunningham. Espez bullies his way back up to the point. Williams with the preferred line. Hawkins makes it 3 wide again. Hawkins and Williams late break. Side by side still.
Tolinen's got one of the best runs we've seen from him yet, and this could be the overtake he's been looking for. He pulls up on him, staying to the inside. Partsinen stays down low as they come towards the braking into 1 and 2. A little bit of a back off from Tolinen, even though he's good on the binders. Oh, but he shakes him off the racing line and pulls the over-under, and he gets past Partsinen.
Gonna poke his nose to the inside, going down into turn 10. That sweeping right-hander. Oh, contact! Newhook gets the worst of it.
He tries to woe it up. Can he? He does keep it on course, amazingly. I thought he was going to have to cut the chicane, but now look at all of them swamping side to side as there's a little bit of a brush into the right front fender of Newhook's car. Now a little bit of banging between himself and Cowgill, trying to hold on to it. They are getting rough out there. We still have 28 minutes to go.
Joe, that was almost 4 wide coming down into turn 1. I don't know if I've ever seen that much aggression here out of these MX-5s.
Under braking, who is the bravest here? More lap traffic in front of him. It looks like Reynolds goes a little bit deeper, but is it too deep? No, he gets ahead. Thomas O'Leary cannot hold him back. Blake Reynolds is back up to the point, fighting back now. It's going to come down through the stadium section and the inside with Thomas O'Leary. The shorter line and a spin from Blake Reynolds gives it up. Get one more good shot here, but passing into Rents. I don't know about that. Side by side in the last corners will be sketchy. Lap traffic staying out of the way. Hammer defends to the inside. Burns around the long way. And he's going to have to take to the runoff because there's a little bit of nudge between them. Comes back to the racetrack, but he's behind as Hammer exits the final corner. Hammer is going to take the win here at Austria.
The season has been by far the most dramatic in recent Kamel Series history, and the stakes could not be higher coming into the season finale. Bad luck struck Nick Baconis again last week at Red Bull Ring, placing him well within striking distance of his GTO competitors, and while the champion has been crowned of the GTPs, second place is still very much up for grabs. Who will claim the GTO title, and who will survive the Glen's dangerous multi-class action with 44 cars? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch the final round of the iRacing Kamel GT Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Adam Lindgren, and with me in the booth is Asian Puhaka. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. Watkins Glen has long been a staple of this classic series, so it is fitting that we say goodbye to this particular version of the track by racing here in our final round. To find out what makes this place beautiful, challenging, track so special, let's head down to our track guide.
Welcome to Watkins Glen International. Situated in upstate New York, just south of the Finger Lakes, this track has seen it all. Few road circuits can boast hosting Formula One, IndyCar, NASCAR, and IMSA during its history. Though it did have a brief fallow period in the early 80s, thanks to the investment of local companies, it's grown into one of the premier road tracks in the U.S. With 4 layouts to choose from that range between 2.5 and 3.5 miles in length, lap times can vary greatly. But it also means it's suitable for lots of different levels of racing, from amateur to pro. The one thing that stays consistent no matter which car and which layout you're using is that Watkins Glen means speed. Many of the straights are very long, and the majority of the corners are fast sweepers. Some of them include a surprising amount of banking as well. Combine that with the proximity of the barriers, and this historic circuit retains a very old-school feel. Drivers in lesser-powered cars can expect drafting battles, while higher-powered machinery will test the skill and bravery of their pilots. Some of the turns are visually iconic, such as the carousel and the S's. Others, like the inner loop, the chute, and turn 9, greatly challenge even the expertly skilled. And of course, we haven't even mentioned the drastic amount of elevation change drivers experience. Between its rich history and popularity among drivers, this track stays busy and seems likely to be that way for a long, long time.
Well, Ozzy, this layout's epic no matter which one you pick, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about this classic boot layout?
Well, Adam, it's the OG one, so to speak. It's not the OG Watkins Glen track, but it is the OG layout, the one we remember. 5.5 kilometers, 11 turns, very fast, very flowing, and it can be quite challenging. But as you mentioned in the intro, it is quite a draft fest because it doesn't have a single section where you can really separate yourself from the opposition. So it's gonna provide fast racing, it's gonna provide a bit of that old school charm. And I always say this is the most part of the United States, which doesn't make sense, but I say so anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to watch these cars go around this track, especially without that inner loop as well. We're going to make a little bit of a draft pack for these drivers. But let's take a look at our point standings. And those of you who tend to space out a little bit during our intros, you might want to perk your ears up for this one. Take a look at this. Hugh Haycox may have won the championship last week, but Ove Trangarade is only 3 points ahead of Aitor Sentes Galindo. And Aitor Sentes Galindo is only 1 point ahead of Fabian Jungbluth. That's a 4-point separation between second to fourth in the GTP. So that is very much up to grabs here. And Ozzy, you have a very, very interesting story in the GTOs.
Oh, definitely so. If it was wide open between second to fourth in GDPs, it's wide open from first to fifth in the GDOs. Nicolas Mucanos is leading the championship by 1 point ahead of Jamie Hamill-Smith. Then you got Hideki Koivisto 2 points behind the lead. You got Ben Lafter watching away 3 points behind the lead, and you got Niels Kaur in the top 5 as well. So any of these guys could realistically clinch the championship in the Audis today, in the GDO class today. So today we're just might end up watching the boxes a little bit more than we watch those fast Nissans.
And with 2/3 Nissans on the track, that's going to make things interesting. But let's talk about our race details. As mentioned, it is the season finale of the Kamel GT series, our 12th race of 12 for the series. This is a 40-minute race, not their endurance layout. They have open setups so they can set up the car however they like or dislike, depending on what you prefer. No spare car for this series whatsoever. They have to take all the damage that they get on this track. They have a drive-through penalty at 17 incidents and a disqualification at 25 incidents. There are no other restrictions, and it's an iRacing official series race, which means that anyone can sign up, and it sure looks like everyone's taken me up on that offer this week. 44 cars around here, Ozzy, as we're starting to see a few of our fast times come in. Hugh Haycox currently tops the board.
Yes, he does. And in second place, we got an interesting name from years back. He still races from time to time, of course. That's Arto Ihamäki. He is someone who loves these classic cars. Then you got Lost Olsen and Antti Lepistö, another fast Finn who loves these older cars. So definitely some familiar names. Uwe Trengride rounding out the top 5 in the GDP class. But yeah, Hugh Haycox 4 tenths ahead so far, putting in a statement.
And look at this. Niels Kaur once again with a strong qualifying performance on his first lap out, beating Nick Bakanos by 16 1/1000ths of a second right now for provisional pole position in the GTOs. That is very close for the beginning of this race. Taking a look now at the number 3 as he's coming around here. Niels Kaur coming around the carousel for the second time of asking.
Yep, he is, and it's looking clean so far. And the important thing about Watkins Glen is that you got a lot of undulation and elevation change throughout these corners. You gotta keep the line steady, and especially with the Audi, which doesn't like to change direction very fast. You have to really brake early, get it nice and settled into the corners, find your rhythm, and then when you get onto the throttle, you have to be ready to unleash all that power, and it has a lot of power. four-wheel drive and some 700 brake horsepower, just getting ready to unleash that. And once again, look at him using all of that track. He's turning in from way next to the grass, and there is no curb when you turn in, there's just grass, so you have to be really careful about that one. If you put one wheel on the grass and you press the brake, you're gonna be around. If you take it a little bit too wide on the exit, the grass is gonna grab you and you're gonna be around. And this is the final time we're gonna see this old Watkins Glen track. It's all tarmac runoffs these days, but we still got grass on the outside of those corners, and I will miss it. And look at the that's some consistency.
Yeah, not only
100
is it
of a second.
consistency, but that being said, Nick McConnell's did improve, so he's going to provisional pole position. Reed Miller up to third.
Ooh.
In the GTPs, Hugh Haycox has that 3/10 gap over Laust Olsen, but then it's 1 second between Laust Olsen and Martin Krajcik from 2nd to 10th positions, so a very tight race up there for the top of the GTP field as well.
One driver, Hideki Koivisto, is pretty far back. He's going to be starting in around 10th position in his class. So that's going to be, sadly, not a very good qualifying for one of our championship contenders, but let's hope he can make positions during the race. I will say that his improvement over the last couple of years, from being essentially a backmarker of the broadcast splits to being one of the championship contenders, is very impressive, as we're watching Togo Hisada on his flying lap.
Yeah, this is his second of 2 flying laps. His first lap did not count, so Togo Hisada, there we see, coming up to where the NASCAR usually turns right there, but zipping straight by is Togo Hisada, going through the inner loop and now into the carousel. This track is a very fast layout. We're going to see quite a bit of drafting and quite a bit of passing down that straightaway, and I can't imagine that it's going to look very pretty for these drivers when we start to hit the first time the GTPs try and pass the Audis down that straight.
Yeah, but that's one of the easy positions. The difficulties begin when you go get stuck behind the Audis on one of the more technical sections, like here. If you enter this corner and you're behind an Audi, you're going to be stuck behind all the way through the corner, and then it's just a short straight. And the thing is that the Audi has better corner exits, so it's going to be really difficult to find that proper overtaking position without essentially ramming your way through, and it can be really frustrating when it's such a fast and flowing track.
15-second delta between these two classes as Togo Hisada exits the final corner. Look like a clean lap on my screen. Let's see whether or not he puts in a time. A 1:27.930 puts him into 10th position for the race. That's actually pretty decent for him, just ahead of Martin Krajcik and Gianluca Gabbiani. And that is going to be our final qualifier for today. So that's going to take us to the grid of the race. And oh my goodness, is this a stacked field. Leading off the field is Hugh Haycox with 3/10 over Laust Olsen in second. Rado Iamaki is going to start off third on row 2 with Antti Lepisto next to him. Ove Trengerade starts off row 3 with Fabian Jungbluth in 6th. Pablo Suarez is going to start off 7th position with Javier Mosquera in 8th. Aitor Sintes Galindo is going to start off in 9th with Togo Hisada, just putting in that time in 10th position. Martin Krajcik starting off in 11th with Gianluca Gabbiani starting off in the 12th position. Stefan Leslie going to start off in 13th on row 7 with Nicholas Borelli in 14th. Roman Belorgi is going to start off in 8th, on the beginning of row 8 with Doug Cloud next to him in 16th. Then we got John Keefe in 17th, Matthew Simmons in 18th, Cam Porter starting off 19th today with Mike Reuter in 20th. We got even more to go here on the GTPs. We got John Cope, Jeffrey Furcon, and Kyle Graham rounding out your qualifiers. Then Carlos Fonseca, Tim Phillips, and Christian Arribas, who did not set qualifying times.
And on the GDO field, we got Nicolas Mucanos on the pole position. Alongside him will be Niels Kaur, Reed Miller rounding out the top 3 on the qualifying spots, with Jamie Hamill-Smith starting on the second row. In row number 3, we got Ian Haycox and Franco Scuri. Mika Tuupola starting 7th, Hideki Koivisto 8th, Ben Lafter 9th, Devin Donaghy is gonna be starting in 10th position. 10 we got Andrea Schumacher, Mark Ole, Oren Laskin, Nahuel Diaz-Caviglia, Nathan Cameron, James Peterson, Michael Haynes, and Jeremy Long. And Jeremy Long appears to not have grid up for today, so we got 17 starters on our GDO field, and we got, of course, Adam, as is traditional with this series, a flying start, a running start instead of a standing start. So that's gonna mean these drivers have 1 lap to contemplate about their strategy before we head to the season-defining battle.
Absolutely, and it is going to be season-defining for these drivers. Ozzy, if I'm in the GTO class, I'm looking at 2/3 of the field being GTPs and thinking to myself, I'm not going to have much room on this track once the GTPs start to pass. How does that adjust your driving style going into this race?
Well, if I'm in the GTO class, I picked the wrong car by mistake, but it's gonna be a little bit different in that you have kind of like 2 races. You have the first race when you find your position in the pack, and then when you get that Nissan's coming by, you get the lapped cars, you get the lap traffic. Then you kind of like jostle for position. You're gonna have to adjust between being nice and giving room, and making it predictable for the Nissan boys, to also defending your position and making sure that you're not the one causing any mistakes, because we talked about it before the race, in that there ain't really much luck in racing. You tend to make your own luck. It's either your mistake or somebody else's mistake or bad preparation if something happens. But just make sure, and especially if you're in the championship contention, make sure that you're not the one making your own bad luck, so to speak. So just don't put yourself in a bad position, and then when the traffic does start to ease up a little bit, try to make the most of it. But a most important thing today is, alongside, of course, not making your own bad luck, is just keeping your rhythm and finding your groove. That's so important in Watkins Glen.
It's also important to keep note of where our championship competitors qualified. Nick Bacanos on pole in the GTOs with Jamie Hamill-Smith, Niels Core in second. Reed Miller qualified in third. He's not part of the championship, but Jamie Hamill-Smith is in fourth. Ben Laughter did not set a second lap. He only qualified in the 9th position, so he's got a long way to go if he wants to make his way to the front of the field. Now, in the GTPs, it's a little bit of a different story. Obviously, Hugh Haycox winning the championship is our pole sitter. Ove Trangarade qualifies in the 5th position, with Aitor Sintes Galindo down in 9th, and Fabian Jungbluth, he qualified in the 6th spot. So Ove Trangarade and Fabian Jungbluth lining up side by side, with Aitor Sintes Galindo down in 9th position. He's got some work to do if he wants to make this championship run for second place work. So going to be very, very interesting here. So as we come down through the through the heel of the boot, rather, we're about to start this race. It's going to be very interesting for these drivers for sure. The final time we're going to see this version of Watkins Glen run here, at the very least next season. Depends on how iRacing decides to archive this track, if they do. So as we come through the final 2 corners, the pace car will peel off, and Hugh Haycox is able to take the start as early as he would like once the pace car enters pit lane. So the Porsche pace car coming through the final corner now. Hugh Haycox will lead them to the grid with Laus Olsen in 2nd position. Here we go with the pace car peeling off. Hugh Haycox is going to wait a little bit, stacking up the field quite a bit right now. Now he goes. And the field very stacked up behind him. It's 3 wide as they cross the line, and the GTPs absolutely fanning out into turn 1. Looks fairly clean. No, we have a giant wreck in the back. That's Togo Hisada, who's been sent around, along with quite a few other drivers. Ove Trangarade and Fabian Jungbluth involved in that accident. Let's go to the GTOs.
It's a relatively clean start for the GTOs. They started already in the heel of the boot, and it's Niels Core now leading the GTO field with Nicolas Mucanos in 2nd place, so he was able to pass Mucanos. Reed Miller 3rd, Jamie Hamill-Smith 4th, and Franco Scuri 5th, as they all come clean through turn number 1.
Couple of drivers going off in the back, but it looks like Oren Laskin and Michael Haynes had issues. We've had another wreck with Roman Belorgi spinning in the GTPs. That's a huge wreck, so he's going to need a little bit of repairs there. Laus Olsen tried to challenge Hugh Haycox down into the carousel, couldn't quite get it done, but let's head back to the GTOs because they're about to enter the carousel themselves.
They are, but it's no lead change there. It's Niels Core still heading the field with Mucanos in 2nd place, Reed Miller 3rd, and aside from that one spinner right in the start, we don't have any more issues. So even Oren Laskin is able to get back going. He's trying to catch up to Michael Haynes and James Pearson as well. And it's already spreading out a little bit where the leading duo are trying to get away. Oh, and the leader spins. Niels Korn doesn't spin. He held it well, but that was a big slide, and that means he's gonna drop all the way down to 5th place, maybe 6th, depending on what Ian Haycox will do. So that's not what Niels Korn wanted here on lap number 1, and he is alongside Franco Scuri.
Not at all. Niels Korn in a tough position at this point in the race. He's going to have a lot of work to do to make up that position. Even if he would have won and Nick McConnell's finished second, he wouldn't actually win the championship because it's only a 3-point gap between first and second. We've had another spinner. That's the 26. That's Mark Ole, who's had a spin. Nedgen Cameron is with him, as well as Oren Laskin, who's already had his first issue, now having yet another one. So, oh boy, and that's some pretty significant damage from Mark Ole. But back to the front of the field, Last Olsen under some heavy pressure from Arto Iamaki in the 3rd position now.
Yep, and Arto Ihamäki is one of those guys who you don't really have a significant image for. He is not known for one thing. He's more of a consistent guy, but he's still a tough opponent whenever he is racing you. And I remember he's been racing for a long time. I remember he was already here when I was starting out in like 2014, 2015, and he's still here and still doing his thing, and has always been pretty much in top 5, top 3 whenever he's racing something. So he's a pretty good driver, and he for sure is an opponent that Lost Olsen is gonna have to be careful about.
And I'm sorry for our fans, but we have an issue with 2 of our GTP championship contenders. Fabian Jungbluth and Ove Trangerade have both hit the pits early in this race, and we just had another wreck. Who was that?
Oh.
That was Arto
Arto
Ihamäki.
I cursed him. I jinxed him completely. He was stuck in the last corner on the pit lane wall, and just briefly, I think he just ran wide. I think there was no contact, no nothing. He just made a little bit of an error on the corner entry from my vantage point, and he just ran wide and got stuck in the wall. So that was it for Arto Ihamäki, and that's his race over as well. He has gone back into the pit lane.
Absolutely heartbreaking for him. We got a nice battle going on for 11th position in the GTPs between Javier Mascara, Doug Cloud, and Matthew Simmons as they're diving into the carousel. That's Javier Mascara going very wide on the entry of the carousel. But just to update you on that moment, whoa, here we go once again. Tight stuff there between Doug Cloud and Matthew Simmons as they're heading down into the corner. Very tight stuff. Very, very tight stuff. But just to finish that update, Ove Trangerade and Fabian Jungbluth both hit the pits. Ove Trangerade is out of the race, so he's not in the battle for that 2nd position in the GTPs. Fabian Jungbluth is cutting through the top 2 of the GTOs at this point, but unless Aitor Sintes Galindo has an issue, Aitor is in 5th place in the GTPs. He is in position to take that that 2nd position in the GTP class right now.
He is, and what's more important, if we can get him in the pictures, the car number 10, if we can just find him on the track, because I'm looking at the live timing, and here we go. Good job by our director there. He has a space of his own. Like, he has 1 second ahead of him, he has 1 second behind him, he can control the race, he knows that he doesn't have to, like, battle with Keith if he doesn't want to. John Keith from Indiana can run away with that 4th place for all Aitor cares. Aitor cares all about that championship position, and right now he is in a position where he can control it so well, and that's exactly what I would want. I wouldn't want to be in a massive battle pack where anything can happen. I would want to be right here, right now, just assessing my position, taking my time and thinking, okay, how can I make the best of it? And I'm not sure he knows where exactly Mukanos is, where exactly Trangerade is, but he has to have seen at least Uwe Trangerade in the pit lane when he went by.
Absolutely. Nick McConnell's currently leading the GTOs by about half a second. The GTOs have been very nice to each other over the opening of this race. They're not really fighting all that much because they know that the real story is going to happen when these GTPs, oh boy, and yeah, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens when the GTPs do try to come by them. They've got about 7 seconds left to go for Hugh Haycox to make it into the GTP group. And that's when things are going to really start to spice up here. That's going to be probably down the front straight next time by is my guess as to when he's going to catch the middle of that GTO pack. Here is Hugh Haycox, our leader right now. He got held up quite a bit by James Peterson in the 13th place in the GTOs, and he's making his way up to Nahuel Diaz Cavallida.
Yes, he is, and I'm watching the GTOs right now, and there's a battle for second place between Niels Korn and Reed Miller as we speak. They are currently side by side with Niels Korn on the outside, trying to take that position away from Reed Miller, looking to the outside, still heading onto the back straight, but it's gonna be Miller holding him off for now. Still, they are fighting, and this is all allowing Nicolas Mucanos to get away with the lead. Look at Reed Miller, and he's just trying to hold on to the position to the best of his ability, while Niels Korn is like, okay, I got more speed. Can you please bugger off? And Reed Miller is having the typical race car driver reply of no.
It's important to note that Reed Miller is a teammate of Nick Mucanos, but they don't race as a team on race day. But those two are decent friends. Niels Korn knows these drivers very well as well, and he's on his recovery drive. Very interesting to note, our leader in the GTPs has caught the back of the GTOs coming into this final corner. So there is Hugh Haycox. He's not heading to the pits, just taking that inside line. He's going to start to pass these guys, and the rest of the GTP pack is going to start to break up these battles.
Just a side note here, watching Hugh Haycox, that is an early 2000s like an LMP livery on a 1980s car in 2021. I love it.
So here we see him trying to cut through. This is one of the most dangerous parts of the track, through the S's. Very, very sketchy stuff here. And he's able to cut through fairly cleanly, but the rest of the GTP's not having quite as much luck. Heitor Sanchez Glendo has a decent run on John Keefe as they're coming through. There's Hugh Haycox making his way through the field. And down in fourth position, John Keefe and Heitor Sanchez Glendo go side by side into the carousel. They're going to try and split a GTO. Oh, no! Hugh Haycox gets spun around by Reed Miller. That's going to send them both off track.
Oh, and that's our leader off. And that is one of those things that can happen so easily in traffic. He just had such a speed difference, Hugh Haycox. And, you know, that's on Reed Miller. I was watching it once. I think we'll get a replay of it later, I hope so. But yeah, Reed Miller just basically cut the door a little bit too much, left a little bit too small of a space for the wide boy Nissan. And that means Lost Olsen is all of a sudden in the lead of our GDP class as the traffic continues. And here we see a replay. And you can just see the amount of space Hugh Haycox was given. Yeah, that's Reed Miller just coming to the right side of the track. I think he was anticipating an overtaking attempt, and as a result of that, he just went a little bit too far to the right, and Niels Korn is going to say, thank you very much. I'm going to take the second place in the GDOs. And
Ozzy, Hugh Haycox just got wrecked by Ben Laughter again, so he's got major damage, and Ben Laughter's down. He's taken the pit stop, so Ben Laughter's out of the championship fight now.
Yeah, I mean,
there's the wreck.
Yeah, that's
braking. Hugh Haycox was braking a lot more than Ben expected, and Ben gets hit by Devin Donaghy, so now he's out. Martin Krajcik's in the pits as well. A lot of things starting to develop here for these classes.
Yeah, it's both major damage and general misfortune.
Got a wreck at the S's as well.
Yep, and Hamilsmith is gonna lose it. Hamilsmith is gonna lose it in the background as well, and he spins in front of the field. That's a dangerous position, but everybody able to avoid him so far and doing a very good job, because that was inches from an absolute disaster. That's the worst place. It's a blind spot, so that's the worst place you can spin in. If you see yellow flags on top of the SS at Watkins Glen, you're gonna brake. And you're gonna watch out. And where is the smoke? Where is the car? Right in the middle of the racetrack, which was the best place it could be in fairness, because you're gonna either fan out on the left, or if you're like really slow, you're gonna fan out on the right. So it was in the middle of the racetrack. At least people were able to see it quite soon. But here we get a replay of that one.
Yeah, let's take a look at this, because this is, oh my goodness, he just gets way out wide, hits the inside wall, and slides across the track. He locks the brakes, and oh my goodness, look at everyone go by.
That's good job by everybody.
And what a great camera shot too, holy smokes.
Yeah,
in an action movie.
Yeah, you can see another view here, and when you get into that outside wall, that left side wall on the SS, there's not much you can do, because you are already pushing, you're already understeering. These Audis, they understeer a lot in the fast corners because they're shaped like a brick. And then when you head to the wall, you just hope that you hit it in a shallow enough angle to not spin out. Well, unfortunately, that was not the case, and especially when you're off the throttle, you can spin so quickly. You could see in the replay that he was trying to hold on to it, but no cigar. And here we get Hugh Haycox heading to the pit lane in a sad-looking Nissan.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting?
A lot of things.
Aitor Sintes Galindo is in second position. He could potentially win this race. And
Scuri, 22. I'm sorry, Franco Scuri is around in the SS as well. Sorry to break your thought there. And there is Christian Arribas as well involved in that one. So another source of drama there. And you can see it on live pictures here. Franco Scuri is around in the SS and his race is heavily compromised.
Oh boy, here comes Andre Schumacher, got-sided!
No! Well, why didn't you just avoid him?
To the moon goes Scurry. Andre Schumacher not expecting a car in the middle of the track. Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, that's what yellow flags are for. I never got it. Like, it's been 10 seconds, it's been ages. He's just sitting there, like, Scooter is like sitting there as we get a replay of it. And just sitting there waiting, just trying to get his car around. And here comes Andre Schumacher, and he's gonna be like, okay, in fairness, he was, well, here we see what happened, is that Scooter was turned around by one of the Nissans. And there's a couple of other Nissans able to avoid him, and that was actually the number 43 of Christian Arribas who turned him around. And here we see Andre Schumacher just coming, biding his time. There's gonna be yellow flags all over the place. Yeah, full speed. He's not lifting at all, and then, oh, there's a car. Like, how do you miss that? How do you miss that?
Yeah, that's not super great. So
yeah, I was gonna say, please don't say that's unfortunate.
No, that's more than unfortunate. But
yeah,
battles all over the track still going on right now. One of the most interesting ones is right here between Pablo Suarez and Javier Mascara. A little bit of side-by-side contact between the two of them as they head into the boot, heading towards the toe of the boot right now. That was a close battle between those two drivers. I don't think Javier's going to feel too good about that one. Javier getting eaten up a little bit. He's got Doug Cloud now looking on behind him. Another battle is the lead battle for the lead in the GTOs. Niels Kor and Nick Bacanos. Niels has recovered significantly from his spin, and so now he's closed back, well, not his spin, but just his loose moment. Now he's closed back up to the back of Nick Bacanos and is putting some serious pressure on our current championship leader.
Yeah, so Niels Kor and Mukanos, they are fighting for the lead. Another little bit of an update is that Hideki Koivisto has lost a lot of positions earlier on, and he is still in the mid-pack of the GDOs. Briefly, no need to go there, but just mentioned him there. But yeah, Mukanos still holding on to that lead, but it's by no means safe. Look at Niels Kor, he got away with one. He was stuck behind, and he was like earlier on, he was stuck behind, and he wasn't gonna be like too happy about that one. Now he's no longer stuck behind anyone but the leader, and he can fight for the win here. The problem is that the GDP traffic, it's no longer a single pack. It's just one GDP there, another GDP here, and you never really, that's what I said earlier on about finding your rhythm, is that essentially you need to like fight these, well, not fight these lapped cars, but rather fight the tendency of like getting sucked up into that mentality of just taking it a little bit too easily because you got lap traffic all the time. No, you gotta push. Even if there's lap traffic, you gotta push all the time.
So the pass potential is here for Niels Kor, and Nick Bacanos does not need to be ahead of Niels Kor to win the championship. Speaking of the championship, Ben Laughter is out of the race, and so is Jamie Hamill-Smith. So that's both those drivers out. Then we have Hideki Koivisto down in 9th position. And so here we go, Niels Kor taking a look around the outside of the carousel. This battle is between the two of them for the championship, and really Niels Kor has to hope that Nick Bacanos has some bad luck today, because otherwise, if they finish like this, or even if Niels makes this pass around the outside, it's not going to matter in the championship standings.
Oh, and Niels went wide into the wall.
Just a little bit too wide entering the boot. Oh, man.
And there was no contact either. It was just Niels Kor running wide all by himself. So that's Niels Kor with a little bit of damage, saddled with some, and Mukanos able to get away with 3 seconds. That's one mistake and 3 seconds lost by Niels Kor, so he's gonna have to claw all that back. The problem is you no longer have 40 minutes, you have 24 minutes of the race left, so it's gonna be really, really, really difficult as we have battles in the GDP as well.
Absolutely. Second position in the GTP. Oh, we got another battle here. This is between Pablo Suarez and Doug Cloud. These two guys battling nose to tail, as that's Javier Mosquera, who's made the pass on Suarez a little bit earlier. These GTP midfield battlers are really ringing it out here today. There you see Suarez trying to take a dive into the heel of the toe of the boot, rather. Doug Cloud just holding his position there. Just one note on Nick Bacanos, Aussies, that if I were him, I'd just be thinking about survival at this point today.
Yeah, survival, but then again, that's not what a racing driver thinks. When you're out there racing, even if it's a championship, you want to like clinch that championship with a victory. You want to make it count. You don't want to like be too conservative. I know that's the clever thing to do, that's a smart thing to do, but if you were smart, would you be strapping yourself up to a thing that goes 300 kilometers per hour on the straight and is essentially a firebomb? No, you wouldn't be. You'd be doing accounting, you'd be doing something that actually makes money. I don't know, middle management, consulting, whatever.
Well, here we go with Heitor Sintes Galindo and Antti Lepisto. Lepisto trying to recover from a little bit of an earlier wreck himself. He's going to look around the outside of Galindo on the exit of the S's. This is a very interesting... Oh, we've had a big wreck with Doug Cloud while this has been happening. And Doug Cloud's in the pits with major front-end damage.
Oh, and that's his
my goodness.
Oh, he's climbed on top of the arm coat there. So that's Togo Hisada on top of the arm coat. That looks like the entry to the SS, which is a weird position. I'm gonna say, without having seen it yet, there has to be a situation involving another car, because you don't normally lose it there.
So this was actually miscommunication between a couple drivers. This is Pablo Suarez and Doug Cloud. Doug Cloud does not give Suarez room to enter the track, and boom! Doug Cloud goes into the ether, and there is Togo Hisada getting absolutely impaled by the railing.
Yeah, so he was just minding his own business, and the thing is that Pablo Suarez, after this one, look at this incident here. So Suarez is gonna crash out into the wall. He's just trying to get out of the way, and he's not looking in his mirrors. And that's why when you have an accident, you slam the brakes and you keep the wheel straight. That is exactly what happens when you don't do it. I know Suarez didn't mean to do any harm there. He was just trying to get out of the way, trying to be a good driver in what happens after an accident. But the thing is that Togo Hisada is looking to the left side, seeing a space there, and well, he just got absolutely yeeted into the wall instead of making up 2 positions clean.
Absolutely. So we're taking a look right now at a couple of our drivers. That was a lap car that they were just trying to make their way by. It's just so challenging right now for all these drivers. And just to let you know, the attrition in this race, we right now have 8 drivers that have, well, no, we have 10 drivers that have currently wrecked out of this race, out of our 44 starters. So attrition is big, and most of those, quite honestly, Aussie, are GTOs. So that's huge news, and actually most of that happened long before the drivers ever became involved with the GTPs. Now, one other battle that's going on right now is between Antti Lepisto and Heitor Sintes Galindo. We're taking a look at Niels Kor trying to make his recovery. He's got 4 seconds up to Nick Bacanos, so he hasn't really made any progress. But here's Lepisto and Galindo as they're fighting each other.
Yeah, 44.7 last time around for Nicolas Mucanos in the lead of your GDO division, and 44.5 for Niels Kor. Both are also battling some lap traffic. As you can see, drivers making their way through the duo. That's going to be Lost Olsen in the GDP lead, actually catching on to the GDO lead. I always love when that happens. But yeah, going back to your earlier point about the attrition, I think one of the reasons for such heavy GDO attrition is that Watkins Glen, as we've established many a times, as everybody who's watched the race here knows, it's a fast-flowing track. It's a fast-sweeping track. Now, what does the Audi GDO not like? Fast sweeping corners, high downforce corners. So essentially what these drivers are doing is that they're going alongside each other in positions where the car is not comfortable doing so. You're not essentially trying to outbrake someone, you're more like going side by side through the corners. And on the outside, when not in your preferred line, it can be so easy to make a mistake with the Audi, going a little bit too fast into the corners, maybe going into a place where you can't make it out of. You're going to the outside line and the room is gonna get squeezed out of you, or the track is you're gonna run out of track essentially, and at that point there's absolutely nada you can do, and it's the worst possible feeling. I've been there on the outside.
Sorry, Ozzy, but Ian Haycock
worries.
missed a significant shift coming into the boot. That's why you saw that gap grow significantly between Reed Miller and Ian Haycock. The two were set up for a nice battle, but Ian just couldn't get the gearbox under him.
And that's one of the difficult things about driving the Audi, is that it doesn't have the dock box, which so many of the other cars like the Nissan has, which is essentially... Oh, and we have a spinner again, and that's once again the number 2 of Hugh Haycock's, who is around between the heel and the toe, and that's not the kind of heel turn you want to be making.
No, and unfortunately this one was just all of his own making. He actually clipped the grass on the outside of the heel of the boot, which is what led him to spin around. No more damage for him, but he's back in 18th position, 12 seconds behind Mike Reuter. I could see a top... Oh, no. I was going to say I could see a top 10 for him in the cards, but he's just going to pull over and retire for the day.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit too much damage, and because you don't have spare cars in this series, I think that's the right thing to do. You know, he spun around and he was like, okay, this car is not going to be in a driving condition anymore, and I could fight it and get a couple of positions, but he doesn't really need it. He's already clinched the championship, so what he can do right now is just, you know, retire with some grace and watch the rest of the race from the pit lane.
Here we're taking a look at the number 20 machine. This is Nahuel Diaz Cavila, or Cavagila rather, and well, I can't say that name to save my life. My apologies. Caviglia. There we go. Yes.
So he is actually driving a decent race. He is right now, let's see, where is he on the track? He is 27th overall. Yeah, go on.
Ozzy, anyone who has survived in the GTOs is driving a decent race right now.
That's
Currently,
true.
We only have 10 running drivers.
Yeah, but see, some of them are running because their car is wrecked. Some of them are still driving.
Well, here we see that battle between himself and Mika Tupula for the 6th and 7th positions in the GTOs. So this is a good opportunity for both of them. Actually, if they can make a little bit of progress up to Devin Donahue, they could have a top 5 in the order. They're getting passed right now by Martin Krajcik, who's had one story of a race. The man's been around a lot of incidents today, but both of these GTO drivers with Mika Tupula has significant experience around here, but just has not had the luck today, and Caviglia not having a great day himself. And that was right in front of Kyle Graham as well, one of our GTPs running 13th.
Yeah, looks like all the Castrol got spilled out on the track in the penultimate corner, because that's Nahuel Diaz Caviglia around in the penultimate corner, and that can happen so easily. And once again, it was a case of GTO running a little bit wide. You hit the grass on the corner exit, and there's... Even if you got all-wheel drive, like you got all-wheel drive, but what's that gonna do? It's just gonna spin you around at a little bit higher of a speed when you hit a difference in traction like that, and he's finally able to get back around right in front of Antti Lepistö. And Eidur Sintas-Galindo is actually chasing down Antti Lepistö, so we can jump straight into this fight in the GDP division for 2nd and 3rd.
Absolutely. Anti's not having the best day of navigating the traffic. He's been held up significantly multiple times. I think it's just been a little bit since he's driven this car. I'm not even sure whether he's driven it on the newer tire model recently, so that's definitely a story to think about. Oh, and we had actually just had a wreck with Stefan Leslie. It was a self-spin coming out of the boot, which is actually something that we see quite often from series. Not normally the GTOs, since they have four-wheel drive, but the GTPs definitely can get that spin on. Just an update on Laust Olsen, currently leading the race by 2.2 seconds over Antti Lepistö and Eitor Sintas-Galindo, the battle that we've been keeping our eyes on in the GTPs. Nick Meccano is currently leading the race by 3.5 seconds over Nils Kor as well.
Yeah, and to continue on your point about Antti Lepistö, yes, he was driving last week. But before that he's been driving in March, and that's been with the Lotus 79, and before that he's had a half a year gap all the way to 2020 when he was once again driving the Lotus 79. So he had, from Kamel GT, he had a 1 year and 4 months of a break before last week at Spa, and where he finished 5th, and now he's sitting here and trying to get to the grips with the Kamel GT car once again. So Antti's had a little bit of a time off from racing, it seems, but I'm glad to see him back. You know, one of my first significant historic sim races was actually with the Lotus 79 back in 2015. Early 2016, and that was I still remember it. It was Lotus 79 at Watkins Glen right here with Antti Lepisto and Kalle Ruokola as the feature Finns alongside Tapani Linnaluoto, and there was also Gennot Fritsch in that race. So yeah, that was a tough one.
Yeah, it's great to see Lepisto back and, racing these last 2 rounds. Definitely, he's definitely seen a lot today. The attrition has been significant. We've lost nearly half of the runners who started this race today, which has led to these gaps being a little bit separated. We're under 15 minutes to go here, and just in case you're wondering why you're seeing such long shadows, it's actually 6:19 virtual standard time for these drivers, and so that's going to mean the sun's going down a little bit here at track temp, sitting at a fairly modest 80 degrees Fahrenheit for Watkins Glen with 7 mile per hour winds. There we see a battle side by side between Martin Krajcik and Jeffrey Furkan. Furkan losing out that position.
Yes, he did, and that's going to be another position for Martin Krajcik. Not really surprising because Martin is such a fast driver. He is able to make his way back through the field, getting positions one after another. But next position, Fabian Jungblut is a couple of seconds away. He's about 5-6 seconds away right now, so that's going to be a little bit of a hill to climb for Martin. And in front of Fabian, it's going to be John Cope in 10th position, a couple of seconds ahead of Jungblut. So we are going to watch those towards the end of the race to see if both Fabian and Martin can make up some positions in the latter portions of this race. Oh, and that's a lot of damage.
I'm trying to figure out who that was who just went off there. That was
Nicolas Morelli.
Nicolas Morelli, and that is a lot of damage. You're not kidding, Ozzy.
Yeah, so he's essentially, look at that car, the shape of that car. That's been a side impact, and I think that's been a rear impact as well.
Oh.
Let's see what happens. So we're coming to turn number 1. He's taking a wide line. Is he gonna touch the grass? Yes, he is. And yeah, so what happened there is that he touched the grass on the corner entry, and what happened is exactly what you would predict that would happen there, is that the car loses control, and then at the end of the back straight, he's gonna wreck again on the outer loop and just gonna spin around because the car is already damaged, and he's gonna end up next to the retaining wall.
Yeah, broken left rear suspension for him, so he's back into the pits. That was a terrifying moment.
So that didn't look scary at all. What do you mean?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just
Kyle Graham, by the way.
Having used to race this series, today is one of the days when I'm glad I'm not out there.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same. I haven't raced in a long time, and the Kamel GT guys are every now and then being to me like, Ossi, are you racing? I'm like, yeah, maybe one of these days, maybe not. And people missed the memo. I retired 3 years ago, guys. I'm not racing anymore.
Well, I would love to race again, but here we go, taking a look at our leader, Laust Olsen, navigating significant traffic right now, and that's Antti Lepisto right on his rear tail. So a little bit of traffic has caused this battle to close up significantly. It was 2 seconds, is down to less than half.
Yeah, so it what comes around goes around, or what goes around comes around. In this case, Antti Lepisto, you mentioned misfortune earlier on with lap traffic. Maybe also being a little bit conservative with the lap traffic, considering his time off, and that's always when you're going to be a little bit tentative. You don't have that confidence that you have from driving week in, week out. He's had a long break. He's come back last week, but that's still not going to be an excellent position. He's still going to be trying to get used to it, trying to get used to all the new drivers, everybody, and what they're going to be doing. They're going to get past Tim Phillips here. Phillips is going to leave nice, and a healthy amount of room on the inside for both Olsen and Lepisto, but this is what Lepisto does so well. He battles well. He's not an aggressive driver in battling, but he can bide his time. He knows he can identify positions because that experience, it doesn't go away. Your sharpness in driving, that may go away. Your confidence may go away, but the experience, it doesn't go away, and it allows Lepisto to go to go down to the outside, but
that was
not
a great
enough yet.
move from Lepisto. He carried his momentum through the final corner. Laust Olsen compromised exit due to trying to pass Niels Kor, our second place driver in the GTOs. Here's Nick Bakanos on the exit of the S's. They should be able to go cleanly around the outside, and they do. Lepisto wearing that car number 1 badge with honors here in the iRacing official Kamel GT series. He's going to look to the outside. Laust Olsen's going to hold the inside. We've seen passes work around the outside of the carousel before, but not today.
No, not today. He was a little bit too far off. He wasn't able to squeeze Laust Olsen much there. So if you're gonna make a pass on the outside work, what you need to do is you need to be slightly ahead on the corner entry. You need to be able to squeeze the driver on the inside, and essentially the part where you're gonna be faster is the exit of the corner as they get a little bit stuck behind Michael Haynes, eventually getting past him, and that's gonna cost Olsen some time, but it was also Lepisto who had to brake, so no significant difference there. But I'm watching the corner entries, and Laust Olsen is looking a little bit, he has to keep the wheel straight a little bit longer than he wants, and that to me seems to imply that during the latter portion of this race, he's not happy with the car's balance, and that's gonna mean the rear end is a little bit wiggly. And that's at Watkins Glen. When you look how many fast corners there are, that's gonna eat away at your confidence, and that's gonna eat away at you under braking, and that's what I think is Antti Lepisto's advantage here, where he's able to turn into the corners earlier, he's able to keep a smoother line through the corners, he's understeering a little bit more, he's pushing a little bit wider, but he's able to be more confident about the fact that the car is going to stay under him.
Yeah, this is the best run that Lepisto has had. Yeah, Laust Olsen wishing that Lepisto wouldn't have shown back up to this series because Laust has yet to win this season, and this is his best opportunity. But Lepisto trying to make it around the outside yet again. He holds it very deep, using the downforce to keep the car on track. They're going to go side by side as they enter the boot. Is Laust going to fight Lepisto on the outside? He's going to try, but can't get it done under braking. Move Lepisto up to the lead of the race.
Yes, he is, and Antti Lepisto right now able to get away. Let's see the next couple of corners, because he no longer has the dirty air. So the positions are switched around. Antti Lepisto is used to the balance of this car in clean air. In dirty air when he was catching up to Laust Olsen, but he also knows the clean air because he was spending so much time alone. But Laust Olsen, he hasn't really been used to dirty air. He's been pretty much all by himself out there in the front ever since Hugh Haycox retired from this race. And now he's gonna navigate that understeer, but it might help him. I mentioned that his car is a little bit snappy. Well, the added touch of understeer, it just might help him as Antti Lepisto touches the curb a little bit on the inside in the last corner and allows Laust Olsen to catch back up.
Yeah, these two definitely battling for the lead right now. Very tight battle for these two drivers. And look at this, they're coming up on Reed. That's not Reed Miller. Reed Miller's in a battle with Ian Haycox right now, and they're actually going side by side is Reed Miller and Ian Haycox. And they've got a gaggle behind them. It's Carlos Fonseca, who's a lapping GTP. Then we've got the lapped cars of Raul Diaz Caviglia and Hideki Koivisto for 8th and 9th as well. But the lead of the race, the GTPs, once again, Laust Olsen making a pass on the inside through the carousel, trying to make this work this time around. He's going to put his foot down early, a little bit of loose moment, but Lepisto still got a nose in. Is he going to be able to hold it on the inside or on the outside? Laust Olsen trying to power out of the corner. They're still side by side as they head towards the toe of the boot. It's going to be tough driving for both of these drivers as they're both going to be offline at different moments here. They're still side by side down the bottom of the boot.
The exit of that corner was so wonderful from Antti Lepisto. He was using all of the track and he was able to keep it on the outside, and as a result of that, able to make the pass to the heel. And now they're coming through the toe, they're coming to the penultimate corner. Antti Lepisto still in the lead, using every bit of that racetrack and 10 some. But onto the back straight as they came, Lepisto was a millimeter from disaster. And that's the driving precision that only comes from years of experience. And that's also some real confidence. And now he's trying to break the draft, trying to make Laust Olsen work for it, and he knows, Lepisto knows, and both his drivers know that the draft onto the back straight is going to be a significant thing. And if Lepisto can make enough of a gap in these technical sections and break the draft onto the back straight, then he's going to be the race victor. If not, we're going to see a battle right through to the end.
And I think Lepisto took a lot more downforce than Laus, because look at how much Laus is closing on the straightaways, Ozzy. This definitely is interesting. I think you're right about creating that gap in the technical sections. If Lepisto can do that, he is going to be able to hold that gap over Laus Olsen, but it's not going to be easy for the final 5 minutes of this race. Lepisto's still going to have to work for it, and they've got a couple of lap GTPs to pass. Kyle Graham, Stefan Leslie, and Roman Belorgi are going to be drivers that they're going to have to make their way by. And so far, the GTPs have been very kind in the lapping, but remember that blue flags are only advisory in official iRacing sessions.
That is true. They're not really enforced. So, and another thing is that, and I don't want to be rude to any of these drivers. I'm so sure Kyle Graham and Stephen Leslie and Roman Belloni are doing the best job that they possibly can. But the worst thing for a GTP driver battling for the lead is a slow GTP, because you don't really know why they are so slow. You don't know why they are a lap down, why they are in this position, where they're going to be slower. Sometimes it can be something obvious, like just being a little bit slower everywhere, and sometimes it can be one corner where they're just taking it completely wrong. And Lepisto is able to get around nicely, and so is Lost Olsen, everybody getting out of the way well. But usually that position can be a little bit terrifying, because you don't really know what to expect. And that's the worst thing as a racing driver, especially when dealing with traffic, the unexpected. That's something you want to minimize.
Just an update on Nick Makanos. He's the gap's closed between himself and Nils Kor down to 2.5 seconds. Still got a lot of work to do. Ian Haycox missed a shift coming out of turn 1, which has led him to drop back way significantly back of Reed Miller to the tune of 6 seconds. He just could not get that thing in gear. That's his second missed shift of the day that we've seen. And actually, we need to go back to the lead of the GTPs, because Antti Lepisto got held up by Devin Donaghy at the toe of the boot.
Yeah, he did. So that's gonna be just Audi GTO not really getting out of the way, because they have no need to. He was just holding his line. I think Lepisto was a little bit too anxious on the throttle there. That's gonna be his mistake, and not able to really optimize the situation for himself. And as a result of that, you're yelping.
Reed Miller is out.
What?
Something happened. He just went straight on at the final corner.
Okay, so that's gonna be a technical error, I think, then. That has to be. That has to be some sort of technical glitch. We'll keep you updated on that one as we are watching the leaders. We're actually getting a replay. Adam, yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Reed Miller right now, and he's just going straight. So
no wheel inputs at all. So yeah, I think that was a hardware failure for him.
Yeah, so that's looking at the wheel here. Look. Oh. No, he was actually, yeah, it locked kind of a little bit to the left. I'm not sure if he had no wheel inputs, or if that was something like his software probably crashing into the desktop or something. Some glitch in his computer. Either way, he's out of the race, no matter what happened, and we're gonna write that down as hardware issues. And in case somebody asks why iRacing doesn't have random hardware failures in the car, well, because we have random hardware failures sometimes not on iRacing, but rather for the drivers. We have random hardware failures on our input devices, and that's why we don't have engine failures and such like that randomized.
Yeah, we see it at least once a week here on the GSRC, but now we're seeing this battle coming up to the final lap for Antti Lepisto and Laus Olsen. It's going to be white flag this time around for these two drivers, and they're getting held up a little bit by Hideki Koivisto. Hideki moves over and lets both of the drivers through. Laus Olsen a little bit compromised into the final corner, but Antti Lepisto taking the white flag this time around. He's definitely going to have a lot of work to do to keep Laus Olsen behind him. Laus needs to have this first sector be the best of his life if he wants to try and beat Lepisto.
Yeah, and they got one more Audi in front of them this lap. It's Michael Haynes in car number 41 who is coming up to them, and they're going to be hoping it's going to happen onto the back straight, which it is. Lepisto is going to have to make a decision. He goes down to the inside. Haynes holds his line, so they're able to navigate that. It's going to be giving Lepisto a little bit of draft as well, but not too much. Here comes Olsen to the inside. He tries. Lepisto holds it well around the outside. He's able to brake late, and now it's going to be really all about just a Hail Mary for Laus Olsen.
Lars Olsen's going to have to do a Hail Mary probably into the heel of the boot if he has any opportunity, but Lepisto's downforce is really helping him pull that gap right now out to about half a second. Oh, Lars Olsen misses the apex on the toe of the boot. Lepisto's going to get it to run away with it right now. They've got Niels Kor in second position in the GTOs right ahead of them. Nick Makanos is going to probably have another lap to do. Niels Kor may not, so this might close out both battles for the lead, and it will, because definitely Lepisto's going to get past Niels Kor before the end of this race. So Antti Lepisto gonna pull out of the oh boy, coming out of the boot section very well. Here we go, it's gonna be close. Niels Kor's blocking them going into the final corner, finally moves out of the way. It's gonna be tight between Niels Kor, Lars Olsen and Lepisto. It's gonna be a drag race, and it's Lepisto that hangs on to it. And Nick Makanos is just up the road from them. He's got an entire lap to go.
Tervetuloa takaisin, Antti. Welcome back, Antti. We have missed you. What a race for him. What a battle, too. He had to really work hard for it. Antti Lepisto winning the GTB class here on the final race of the Kamel GT season. Lost Olsen in second place. And we still have the GTOs to take home. Nick Mukanos, he is gonna be the GTO winner most likely today.
Yes.
And he is, because everybody else is a lap down.
Nick Makanos will win the GTO Championship. Aitor Sintes Galindo will win second place in the GTP Championship because none of his competitors were even close to him. So now we get to give the spotlight to Nick Makanos for half a lap here, as Nick Makanos has worked his tail off this season to try and hang on to this points lead. Very frustrated after last week. But this week, he kept his nose clean. He stayed out of trouble. He made no mistakes up to this point. Obviously, there's still a little lap to go. But he made no mistakes today. Just such a strong drive from Nick Makanos. Such a consistent drive from Nick Makanos. The one thing he'd been lacking up to this point was that consistency, as Ian Haycox sneaks his way by. Cutting the boot. But here comes Nick Makanos, still on his final lap. He's going to close out this race, coming through the final corner to take home the win and the championship here in the GTO class. Nick Makanos finally gets it done here in the final season of 2021. Nick Makanos is your winner on track for the final round of the Kamel GT series and the winner of your GTO championship.
Yes, he is, and well, he did the brave thing of transitioning from Nissan to Audi. He did that transfer where you really have to get used to driving a new car, get used to driving in a new environment. He's been driving it a couple of seasons now, and he's finally able to take home the championship. Congratulations to Nick Mukanos. Congratulations to Hugh Haycox as well. It wasn't the race he wanted, but he still won the championship. So a great race at Watkins Glen and a great goodbye.
And our two champions doing burnouts on the paved runoff of the exit of turn one, both Nick and Hugh Haycox. What a finish. What a season we've had. And that's going to take us to a short break. But don't go anywhere. We'll have the unofficial results as well as driver interviews shortly after the break.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the closing of the final round of the final season of 2021 Kamel GT series here on GSRC. And man, did we have a storied race. Maybe not the excitement we were hoping for, but definitely exciting and definitely fitting for the end of this season, with Antti Lepisto taking home the win of the race in his second race back. in the GTP. We got Laust Olsen, who came in just short of that first win of the season. Such a tough season for him. When just so many good results, but never getting that top step of the podium. Aitor Sintes Glendo comes home in third and clinches second in the points championship for the GTPs, if my math is correct, and I believe it is, yes. And that it puts him in a great position for the season. John Keefe coming home in fourth position today, ahead of Gianluca Gabbiani. Javier Mascara comes home in sixth, with Carlos Fonseca in seventh. Eighth is Matthew Simmons, with Fabian Jungbluth in ninth. Martin Krejcik in the 10th position. We got John Cope, who finishes in 11th spot, with Jeffrey Furcon in 12th. Kyle Graham, 13th position, with Stephen Leslie in 14th. Tim Phillips, 15th spot, and Mike Reuter in 16th, finishing out the drivers who finished the race for the GTPs today.
And in the GTOs, it's gonna be game, set, and match. A race and championship for Nicolas Mukanos. He's gonna be one happy camper today, with Niels Kor finishing not quite 4 laps behind him, but still ways behind him. Regardless, Ian Haycock's gonna be rounding out the podium here at Watkins Glen, with Devin Donaghy finishing 4th and Mika Tuupola taking 5th place. Michael Haynes is gonna be 6th, with Hideki Koivisto in 7th place, not a championship finally he wanted. Nahuel Diaz Caviglia is gonna be 8th, and then we already get to our retired drivers pretty much. Reed Miller and Mark Olay and a few others as well. A lot of retirements here in the GTO division. You got Franco Scuri, Andreas Schumacher, Jamie Hamilton-Smith, Ben Lafter, James Peterson, and you got Oren Leskin, Noitun Cameron, and Jeremy Long as well. But instead of retirements, we have some celebrations, because Adam, I'm looking at the interview area, and we got a lot of drivers waiting to get their word in. So why don't you get us started with that one?
Absolutely. I want to talk to Nick Bakanos, our winner of the GTO series and our winner of the race today. Nick, what a fantastic race you ran today. Very consistent, very measured today. Probably a welcome race after last week.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I was going to have to manage the traffic, so I was trying to be cautious, but I couldn't be too cautious, so I felt like I was doing a balancing act the whole time.
Yeah, and coming into this week, I mean, the points championship was so tight between all of the drivers. And what was going through your mind as you came in, as you came to the green flag during this race? I mean, you knew that if Nils finished ahead of you and you finished second, he wouldn't be able to win. But that being said, it's still tough not to battle with him throughout the race.
Yeah, I knew I didn't have to win, but I didn't pay attention to the whole spreadsheet and all the calculations, so I knew I still had to do pretty well. But yeah, in the beginning, we had pretty good pace, so I kind of wanted to use his draft to pull a gap, and it just kind of worked in my favor after that. I did okay in traffic, and I guess Nils made a couple bobbles, but he stayed with it. But yeah, I just was going with the flow, but taking it easy instead of trying to battle for the win.
Yeah, Nick, I mean, you had so much success this season. Aside from your finish at Spa, if you weren't wrecking out of the race, you were finishing in first, and that kind of consistency up at the front of the pack, that's what gave you this championship victory. What do you think about this season, and what do you think about this track, especially as we're retiring this particular version of it?
Oh, Watkins is okay. I didn't like it for a while. I'm kind of liking it again. I don't know. Maybe it's just the car, and the Audi is pretty fun today. But yeah, the race was so close. I mean, the championship race was so close. It was really down to consistency, I think, in the end. And I don't know. I had maybe consistent wins, but I don't think I was consistent overall. So I really had to do well the last few chances I got.
Well, Nick, I mean, a fantastic drive today, a fantastic drive this season. Such a breath of fresh air, I think, for you for sure. Is there anyone you want to thank for your season and your championship victory today?
Today, I'd like to thank all the Nissans for doing a great job in traffic, and just in general, you guys, GSRC, Dirty Torque, and everyone in Kamel. I always have a lot of fun.
Well, thanks for talking to us, Nick, and we look forward to seeing you in the next season. We're going to have a conversation now with our second place finisher in the GTPs, Laust Olsen, and he's going to be with Ozzy.
Yes, Laust Olsen, it was looking very good for your first win of the season. You were chasing it so hard, but in the end, Antti Lepistö happened, a great battle happened, but you ended up with the shorter end of the stick. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, it was a really good race. I didn't have the pace to stay with Hugh, but then again, I survived the traffic, so yeah, that's... And for a while, I actually thought I had a chance, but then I blamed traffic, or rather my skill set traffic, that Antti caught up with me, and we had a great battle. So thanks to Antti for a lot of respect, and that was really fun, really exciting. So yeah.
I'm sure it was even more fun for you than it was for us watching here from the commentary booth. We stayed with you right until the end. So you've been racing Lotus 49s, you've been racing Grand Prix Legends, you've been racing Classic Lotus Grand Prix, and you've been racing Kamel GT this season. Is the same going to continue in 2022, or are you going to perhaps concentrate on the Camels now that you can see that you're able to fight for race wins here?
I think I'll race at least 2 of those series next year also, and perhaps all 3 again. I like all the cars, and it's great communities, all of them. A lot of respect, a lot of good driving, not many bad things happen. So of course the people make mistakes, myself inclusive, but I really like those series, and you have the same bunch of people you race every week, so it's got a kind of league feeling also, which makes it nice. So
yeah, and we saw another great race from you today, Watkins Glen as a track. Quickly before we let you go, how do you like it?
It's a very fun track, and I seem to have good pace here, so that makes it even better for me. So it's definitely one of the great tracks in the series.
Okay, and that's certainly a great result from you as well. 2nd place, great way to end the Kamel GT season for you. And Laust Olsen, thank you very much for the interview, and congratulations on the podium finish.
Thank you very much.
Here we had Laust Olsen, and Adam, I believe you already have our next interviewee ready.
Yeah, we're going to be talking to Aitor Sintes-Glinda, who finished in the 3rd position in the GTPs. Aitor, a fantastic drive for sure, and I believe you clinched the 2nd place in the championship with that drive as well. So a great drive, but talk to me about your race today, because you were in the thick of it when the chaos started at the first lap.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to congratulate Nick Mocanos. I think he clinched the GTO title, so huge congratulations to him. Very well deserved. And well, my race was very eventful, I should say. I started P10 or P9, P10, and I thought at first I was the cause of that melee that happened in the first corner. Fortunately, wasn't the case, but I still feel sorry for Ove. It's not okay to end the fights like this, but still, it was a good race. Finished P3. I finished P2 in the championship, which I'm very, very happy because it's the best I could hope for. Hugh Haycos was immense all season, and it was like, it's the best I could do. So yeah, a very good race. And also feel sorry for Laust. He was very close to winning the race, and I was actually cheering for him in the voice chat. They would say, "Go Laust, go!" But yeah, next time, buddy, next time.
Well, congratulations, Aitor. And is there anyone you want to thank for your season today?
Well, the usual suspects, my family, my mom, dad, probably my sister as well, you guys as well. Also, we're doing an awesome broadcast from casting to interviews, and yeah, my teammates at push rod today. The way there were no teammates, but still, it was nice racing with them. Probably next season. And yeah, love you all, guys. So yeah, see you next season.
Well, congratulations, Aitor, and we look forward to seeing you next season as well. Great race today. That was Aitor Santos Galindo, who finished in third position in the GTPs, and we have Nils Kor, who finished in second in the GTOs with Ozzy.
Yeah, Nils Kor here. You had a chance to fight for the win today. Unfortunately for you, Nicolas Mukanos was able to get away with it, but you had a great battle up until lap 9 when turn number 6 proved itself to be treacherous. What happened there?
Well, to be honest, I just was pushing quite hard because I didn't really have anything to lose. I just tried to make him a bit nervous, and yeah, at the end, I was the one going off track and not him, so it didn't quite work out.
But still, it was good pace from you today, and even after that, you were able to come home in second place. Just briefly, Watkins Glen, it's a good track for you, no?
I have definitely had better tracks. It's quite alright, but it's not like Spa or Le Mans. There I usually have a lot better pace.
And finally, the season is over. Kamel GT season 2021, season 4 is in the wraps. What about next year? What's going to happen for Nils Kor?
I actually don't know yet if I will run a full season again. At least for next season. There are some tracks on the schedule that I definitely want to do, but yeah, not all of it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Nils Kor, for our interview, and well, good luck for next season, whatever you decide to do.
Thank you.
There is Nils Kor, and finally, okay, we have Adam Lindgren, and he is going to be ready with our final interviewee of the day.
Yeah, this is John Keefe, who finished in the 4th position. John, definitely an exciting race for all of the GTPs throughout the race today, but how was your experience on track? And John, you got us?
Yep. Can you hear me now? Oh, okay. Yep. Sorry, I had my mic muted. Yeah, my race was all about the start. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I mean, I came from 17th to 4th because of a slow start by everybody and then an incident in turn 1. So I came out of turn 1 P4 and I just kind of fought Gabbiani for the rest of the race to keep it.
Absolutely. We definitely saw the fight with Gabbiani, but I don't think we caught the excitement at turn 1. Definitely going to have to go back and take a look at that myself. But
yeah, the seas just parted for me and on the front straightaway and turn 1. So it was an exciting opening lap, that's for sure.
Well, John, I mean, your season has just been such an interesting story to watch for sure. Talk to me about your season as well as this race.
Yeah, it was either hit or miss, honestly. There were a few tracks that are just sort of favorable to me, and I did, I brought result home on those, I think, 3 occasions. I podiumed, VIR, Summit Point, and I know there's another, and I can't think of it right now. But
I think. Oh
yeah, most sport. Thank you. But yeah, I was hoping to get P3 here today, but I just couldn't run down Aitor and Laust. And it was Antti that won, correct?
Correct.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So good to see Antti back. It's been quite a long time since we've seen him in Kamel.
Absolutely, John. I mean, what a fantastic season for you. And what are your plans heading into the 2022? I know that a lot of people are making some adjustments themselves. So are you going to be running this series again?
Yep. Same car, same series. I'm just addicted to Kamel. This is in my opinion, it's one of the most enjoyable series there is here. Just because of how a race unfolds, and whoever can do it best can get to the front.
Well, I wholeheartedly agree, John. And as we close out the 2021 season, is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Just all the Kamel guys, you guys for the great broadcast that you do. And just to get a quick plug in, week 13 next Sunday, we're running these cars at Legacy Phoenix Oval. So and we're broadcasting it with you guys, so that should be fun watch for anyone that enjoys watching these races.
Well, if I didn't have to pack up my rig to move, I would absolutely be there. But thanks for talking to us, John, and we look forward to seeing you next season.
Yep, thanks, Adam.
That was John Keefe, who finished in 4th position here today, and that is going to close us out. We want to give a huge thanks to the Kamel GT community for bringing us on for another season of coverage, and congrats to this season's champions, Hugh Haycox and Nicholas McConos. What a fantastic season it was to watch. Thanks also to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts that are listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team this season: Joe Peak, Robert O'Brien, Jake Sperry, Austin Puhaka, Zach Johnson, and Dougie Beard. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check us out on our social media through the outlets listed at the bottom of your screen. If you'd like to support the channel, go check out our merchandise store. The link is in the description below as well. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. And up next is going to be Formula V Weekend Warriors at Laguna Seca. You're not going to want to miss that one, especially as they dive through the corkscrew. We also have upcoming races for the many series we have listed on the broadcasts that are listed on your screens, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until then, we hope you've enjoyed joining us this season as much as we've enjoyed bringing this racing to you, and we hope to see you back on our channel soon. But until next time, my wonderful Kamel community, remember this all-important adage: race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.